Am I overreacting by ending a 7-year friendship with my best friend who acted racist towards me? My best friend of 7 years, who is now my ex-best friend, and I had a significant argument, and we are currently not speaking to each other. Everyone I have spoken to about this situation says that I am not at fault, but I want to ensure that is accurate. Daisy and I have been friends for 7 years. We became best friends during our freshman year of high school and are now both adults. Daisy is a 19-year-old Caucasian female, and I am a 20-year-old African-American female. I mention our races for the context of this story. After high school, Daisy attended a very expensive college. Her family is well off, and they advised her not to work while in college, assuring her that they would handle all her expenses so she could concentrate on her studies. I am no longer in school. I completed a 1-year program and graduated. I now live in New York City and was working as a nanny at the time. I invited Daisy to spend 3 weeks with me in New York City so she would not have to worry about food or anything else. I was genuinely excited about this. Then a snowstorm occurred, and the family I was working for as a nanny asked me to come in. I was reluctant to leave my home due to the harsh weather conditions. I expressed my dissatisfaction about having to go to work, and her response was simply, "Just don't go." I was perplexed because it wasn't feasible for me to skip work. If I called out, the family could easily find another nanny, and I needed the income to pay my rent. She insisted that I didn't have to go if I didn't want to. I attempted to explain that this was not a choice I could make. I needed to eat, pay my rent, and if I chose not to go, I would be unable to do those things. She did not grasp this, so I accepted that she would not comprehend my situation. I mentioned that she might not understand where I was coming from since we are at different stages in our lives, which was okay. She reacted negatively to my response and sent me a lengthy text expressing that she felt I was implying her life wasn't challenging because she is still in college and does not live in the real world, and that I was minimizing her experiences. I sincerely apologized, as I did not intend for my words to come across in that manner. I just wanted her to understand that it was fine if she did not see my perspective, given that we are in dissimilar life circumstances at present. She does not have to pay bills, work, or buy groceries because her mother ensures that her school provides her meals. Therefore, it is understandable that she does not perceive why I cannot merely choose not to go to work. I explained to her that it was out of touch to say and lacked compassion and kindness. I also pointed out that it is a privilege to have that perspective. She did not take this well. She stood up, took my key, and left. I thought she would just go for a brief walk, but she was gone for the rest of the night. I placed her pajamas and toothbrush on the couch, knowing she wouldn't be sleeping with me at that point since she had been absent for 5 hours, and then I went to bed. When I woke up, she was still missing with my key. I had work and needed to pick the children up from school, but I had no idea where she was, and she had turned her phone off, making it impossible to contact her. I needed to do grocery shopping that day, as well as laundry and work. Had I left my home, I would have been locked out. My roommate was at home, but she has her own life and needs her own keys. I kept calling and texting her to retrieve my key, but she did not respond, so I had my mother call her mother to ensure she would return my keys. After 10 hours, I finally heard from her. She texted me expressing that she was upset about me contacting her parents because it was her father's birthday and she did not want to upset him. She also mentioned that she thinks I do not like her. I was extremely confused. She had claimed to turn off her phone so that I would not send her mean messages. I swear by my mother and my family that I never sent her any mean messages. I simply needed my keys to leave my home and pick up the children from school. Her mother sent me a text apologizing and confirming that Daisy was on her way to return my keys. When Daisy finally returned to my apartment, I remained calm and spoke to her in a gentle tone, asking her what was going on, why she had left in the manner she did during our conversation, and whether something else was bothering her. From that point on, everything deteriorated. She began recounting how difficult her day had been, mentioning that she had cried all day at Central Park, feeling alone in an unfamiliar city, scared and cold. I simply told her that it was not my fault that she felt scared and alone in the cold. She had left, taken my keys, and turned off her phone, so I could not reach her. She was angry with me over something beyond my control, leaving me unable to exit my own home, the same home I had welcomed her into. I asked her again why she left during a calm conversation on the couch. My best friend of 7 years looked me in the eyes and stated that she left and did not return because she was afraid that I would turn around and attack her. Mind you, in our 7 years of friendship, I have never yelled at her. I am not prone to yelling. Suddenly, she perceives me as an aggressor, a violent person. There was a lot of violence around me growing up, and I become frightened when I see two individuals yelling or arguing. Sometimes, I even begin to cry. Daisy is aware of this aspect of my past. I was deeply hurt by her accusation, so I stepped away to get a drink of water, using a cup that belonged to my roommate. After I finished drinking, I placed the cup on the tile counter, and it cracked as I set it down. The moment that cup broke, I felt my heart shatter alongside it because I could not believe what was happening. Following that, I began to yell and sob because I could not comprehend how she would not apologize for anything and instead portrayed me as the crazy black woman. After that incident, a few days passed, and I eventually asked her to leave earlier than we had initially planned because I didn't believe our friendship could survive if she stayed for another 2 weeks. She felt it was unfair that I was making the decisions. I told her she did not need to leave immediately. It could be in the following days, but she opted to leave that night. I texted her mother to inform her that Daisy did not have to leave right away, and I continued texting her mother to ensure that Daisy was safe and okay after she packed her belongings and left. An hour later, my other best friend received a text from Daisy stating that if she ever considered staying with me for a few nights, she should not because I had gotten extremely angry over nothing. I had broken my roommate's cup, and that I was violent and had changed a lot since high school. After that, I completely cut off Daisy because I genuinely believe she has deeper issues. I also think there are underlying microaggressions present. She gossiped about me to people who were my friends, not hers, and spoke poorly about me in my own home, assuming my roommate would not tell me. Not once did I share what happened with anyone because I wanted to respect her privacy, not knowing if there were deeper issues she was dealing with. I sincerely apologize for the length of this message, and I appreciate you taking the time to read it. Story 2. After a heated argument with my mom about my ADHD and school struggles, I yelled in frustration and cried in my room. Now I face the fallout of snitching for my friend. Is my anger towards my mom justified, or am I overreacting? Okay, so this situation happened in real life, so I do not have any screenshots to show, but I will type up the conversation as accurately as I can. A little bit of information. I am 17 years old, and I have extreme attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and anger management issues, as well as problems with concentration. In this account, I will not provide names, so I will refer to certain individuals using brackets. My school has a homeroom class called Mentoring, essentially advisory, that begins at 1:10 p.m. Another important part of this situation is that I am involved in a play, and the director theater teacher got into trouble because a student started a rumor about her, and we suspect she might be fired. This incident occurred today, and I needed to calm down enough to write this out for about an hour. The argument started at 3:45 p.m. Me: "Hey mom, I need to talk to you about something because I may be in serious trouble or I might be questioned by the school officer." Mom: "Sigh, what is it?" Me: "So I went to my girlfriend's mentoring session today, and my best friend and her boyfriend were there too, and we were just hanging out. A friend who is ginger was also there, but he was crying because of the whole theater teacher situation I mentioned. We were trying to cheer him up because he is really upset about it when this kid, whom I will refer to as Bully, starts taking pictures and videos of him while he is crying and is over there laughing with his arrogant, popular friends who enjoy making racial slurs for fun. At one point, he walks over and takes a selfie with the ginger friend while he is crying. So, I stood up from my chair and began yelling at him. I told him, "You better delete every single picture on that phone or I swear to God I will snap it in half." And of course, he thought it was all a joke. The substitute teacher for the class was a really relaxed guy, and he said, "Bully, just put your phone on my desk." So Bully took his phone out of its case and set the case down on the teacher's desk while continuing to take pictures and videos. I was extremely angry, so angry that it was not even funny. Then, the bell rang to go to our next class, and my best friend's boyfriend had grabbed the phone case a few minutes earlier to mess with Bully. Bully got in my face and told me to give it back to him, and I said, "I love how you assume I have it." Then my best friend's boyfriend threw the case at him. After all of this, we went to the school officer and reported Bully, and the officer said he would deal with the situation. Mom. Throughout the entire story, she is looking at me with a very disinterested expression. Okay, what I don't understand is, why were you not in your own mentoring session, me? Oh, teachers let us attend other mentoring classes. Mom. With an angry expression on her face, I was not finished. Why were you not in your own mentoring session, doing schoolwork? I have poor grades because I have difficulty focusing in class without talking or getting distracted, and my mom usually lectures me and yells at me instead of sitting down and helping or discussing it. Me. Shaking my head, please do not make this about my grades. Mom. Raising her voice slightly, no, your grades are terrible right now. I want to know why you were not in your own mentoring session completing your work and getting caught up, because at this point, you should say goodbye to the idea of going to college. Me. Starting to feel angry. Well, maybe if you stopped yelling at me about them for once, I could do something about it with your help instead of feeling bad about myself because you constantly yell at me. You know that I struggle with focusing, Mom, and yet you never do anything to improve it. Me. Starting to raise my voice because I can't. You do not understand how difficult it is for me to stay focused on something that does not interest me. Mom, I do not care. She says this frequently during arguments, which I find very frustrating. You never try to work on your focus. Me. Standing up, I am done with this conversation. Every single time I attempt to talk to you about something, you always bring up my grades. Mom, we are not done yet. This whole situation could have been avoided if you had just gone to your mentoring class and done your work. Me. You know what? I went to therapy right after all of this happened, not even 10 minutes later, and the therapist listened to me and offered some ideas and strategies that might help. All you do is yell at me about my grades. I cannot count on you to talk about anything because you always get angry at me. Mom. Now yelling, I do not care what you are discussing with your therapist. I am telling you this. If you do not want to listen, then you can leave because I am finished discussing it. Keep in mind I tried to end the conversation, but she wanted to continue. Me. I even told the therapist about my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and concentration issues, and she helped me come up with some coping strategies, Mom. Like what? Please enlighten me. Me. I do not know. Things like getting a 504 plan for me, or sitting in a different section of the classroom away from people I can talk to, Mom. Oh, you mean like the things we discussed that one time. Me. Emphasis on one time, Mom. Maybe I need more than one person to assist with this, Mom. Screaming, no, you just do not want to listen to me. You never listen to the advice I provide and you never respect the fact that I try to help you. Me, Mom. For one, stop yelling at me. For two, I do listen to you. I take your advice, Mom, shut up. Close your mouth and listen to me. Me. I give her that look that says, I swear to God if you say that again. Do not tell me to shut up. Mom. Points toward the hallway, go to your room. I do not want to see you for the rest of the night. Do not come out until you prepare for school tomorrow. Me, Mom, I am 17, Mom. I do not care how old you are, go to your room. Now. So I stormed to my room, slammed my door, and at the top of my lungs I screamed, I am so sick and tired of this. I then proceeded to cry for about 20 minutes before texting my girlfriend a shorter version of this rant, expressing that I hated my mom, that I wished I had never known her, and similar sentiments. Now that I have calmed down enough to be composed, I apologized to my girlfriend for ranting and for saying I hated my mom. She responded that it was okay, I needed to get my feelings out, and that she was there for me if I needed to talk. I am still incredibly upset, but I do not know what to do. I still have to go to school tomorrow, and I feel like one of my friends might get attacked for our reporting, even though the school officer informed me that taking pictures and videos without someone's consent is illegal, and students could be expelled for that. Or I have to show up and support my friends to ensure they do not get attacked and face the repercussions myself, and I also still have to deal with my mom afterward. My only question is, do I have the right to be upset with my mom, or am I simply being overly dramatic and blowing things out of proportion? Story 3. When I started a new job, my longtime friend's behavior shifted dramatically. Jealousy and entitlement erupted over my tips. Despite past support for her, she now accuses me of being ungrateful. Can our years of friendship survive this money-fueled fallout? This is a bit lengthy, but I would appreciate your assistance. I went to work with a friend and noticed immediately that her attitude toward me changed as soon as I arrived. As time progressed, it worsened significantly until it escalated into a huge fight that I am not even certain can be resolved. I have known her for almost 15 years, and we have never been in a situation where I was actively outshining her like this. I truly do not believe she knows how to cope with that, and this is how the argument genuinely began. She asserts that this argument started because I was not giving her money from my tips to share since she helped me secure the job, and I was covering her shift. I might understand that, but she was acting very strangely toward me from the moment I arrived. She repeatedly told me during our shifts not to touch the money and to put it away until we were finished, even though we had previously agreed to split the earnings once our shifts concluded and we met up at home. I might also comprehend her concerns if it were not for the fact that I could tell she was intensely bothered by the amount of attention I was receiving. She finished her shift before I did and left prior to me. I had to cover the end of her shift. However, she approached me to initiate an argument as if I had any opportunity to connect with her at all during that time. She keeps discussing the principle of the situation and then claims that she does so much for me, implying I am ungrateful. I have done numerous things for her in whatever ways I was able, going out of my way for her multiple times, even when I did not want to, as I had to bring my son along each time, and this has been happening since he was young. I knew she needed support, and she knew that I was a friend who was more available. Side note, she has definitely taken advantage of that fact more than once. That is not to say that I never spend money on her. I have done so when possible, but 9.5 times out of 10, when I have asked for something, she says no. I do not have the financial means to spend like she does. I do my best without having to expend what I do not even possess. What kind of extravagant gifts are you expecting from a struggling single mother as a show of gratitude? I genuinely believe this issue is primarily related to money and jealousy. She only sees herself, and when she does not receive what she desires, or if you divert any attention away from her, you suddenly become a terrible person. I have observed this type of behavior unfold with her and her other friends or relationships repeatedly. I always knew that if she ever directed that side of her personality toward me, it would be chaotic. I have clearly laid out my argument for her. Yet, she continually repeats herself as if she is not reading anything I have written. She is adamantly refusing to understand or acknowledge anything I have said. She is accustomed to people manipulating her through pleading and crying, professing love and longing for her, only to betray her moments later after the crocodile tears. I feel as though she does not even recognize what true gratitude and appreciation look like because everything has always been manipulated from her to the point where she expects others to grovel, even if she is wrong. I am just worried that she may be in a far worse situation than I realized, as she had never directed this type of behavior toward me. I have never witnessed it unfold like this. She is throwing past favors in my face and treating me horrendously for no apparent reason, which is why I find myself writing this extensive post. A few separate, yet helpful points. She has a pill addiction, and I am trying to understand whether that is the source of this incredibly chaotic argument. I experience severe chronic pain and consistently fight through it to accomplish tasks. I am not your typical healthy person, and I have noticed that she has not taken the side effects of my new life seriously at all. Additionally, I experienced anxiety when starting a new job, and my anxiety medication can severely impair my memory if taken daily. Yet she refuses to acknowledge these factors and keeps asserting how horrible I am. Can someone please explain to me what the principle is? Would it not involve repaying what is owed, as we agreed? That should have entailed us coming together and working things out. Furthermore, up until now, she had assured me multiple times that she would not require me to split my first shift with her, but as soon as she began feeling upset or jealous, that commitment vanished. I did repay her. However, she provided me with a figure that exceeded what I owed. I assume she did this out of spite. I have pointed out to her 3 times in my responses to her outburst that she made me repay her for days I was not even present, yet she completely ignores this. She was assisted in getting this job by another friend whom she treated similarly, And now that friend has barely been working at all. She ingratiates herself with the supervisors and manipulates everything to her advantage. She confided in me that she compelled the supervisor to deny her shifts because the friend who got her the job had wronged her.